Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Counselor's Couch 101. I am Jim Stump. If you'd like to communicate with us, you can send us a comment down below or send us an email at counselorscouch101 at mail.com. Counselorscouch101 at mail.com. Now, all of you lifelong members of the Crazy Lake Nation know exactly what that is right there. For the rest of you, we're going to let you ponder it, let you figure it out, maybe do a little research, ask some questions, and see if you can understand the significance of that particular photo at this particular time. Today, we got a couple of stories for you, and where they were inspired by the story of Lot's wife, if you remember that one. It seems that three strangers were traveling across the country once upon a time. I think they stopped at Abram's house first, his tent. Abram, before he became Abraham. And they told him they were moving on. They were going to visit Lot over where Lot was living over in Sodom and Gomorrah. So the three men traveled on, and they finally found Lot's house over in Sodom and Gomorrah, and he offered them, to stay at his place and like that, because that was the custom of the day. When someone was traveling, you'd offer your home and give them food and a place to sleep and keep them safe and all that. They were your responsibility when you took them in your house. So the three men were in the house, and the men in the neighborhood came up to Lot's house and banging on the door, and they were insisting that Lot bring out those three guys to them because they wanted to know them biblically. And Lot was saying, don't do this terrible, horrible thing. He says, I have beautiful young daughters. Let me bring my young daughters out to you, but don't harm these men. Well, the neighbors would hear nothing of it. They insisted that Lot bring out these three strangers who had come into town. Well, eventually, as the men came out of the house, somehow or another, the crowd became confused, and they wandered around bumbling into each other, not being able to see in the dark, as it were. And so they didn't bother the three men. But the three men told Lot, take your family, take all your possessions, and leave here now. Don't come back, because this area is going to be destroyed because of all the evil that exists here. Well, after some conversation, Lot got his family together, got his possessions, and he left that very moment. And they were walking away from Sodom and Gomorrah. And in the morning, they started hearing this horrible noises, explosions, and they could smell the sulfur in the air, and they could feel the heat from all the destruction that was going on behind them. They say that it rained fire and brimstone. I kind of wonder, did they have a volcano there? Did the lava come up from the ground and destroy them? I don't know. I wasn't there. If anyone has information on that, please feel free to share it. At any rate, Lot, and it was told by the men, do not look back. Go and leave this place and do not consider it again. Do not turn around. Well, as they were leaving and going up the hill and moving away from the area, Lot's wife turned around because she had to see what was going on back in her home. She had to witness the destruction because she wanted to understand all the noise and the smell and the heat and the fire that were going on. As she turned around, legend has it that she turned into a pillar of salt. And Lot had to move on without his wife, had to leave her there, took his family and escaped. I believe he went to Abram. What is the message there? The message is, don't look back on bad things. If you had a bad experience, if you have evil things going on in your life, don't dwell on it. Don't waste your time on it. Move on. Reminds me of a conversation I had in one of my group meetings. Back in the day, I used to conduct 10 group meetings a week, and I had to meet with each one of the members of the groups individually every week, write reports and letters to the court and all sorts of things. It was really a very stressful, overworked time until I got some help to help me out with all that. But in one of the group meetings, somehow or another, we got to talking about jobs and making a living and supporting ourselves in life and in the world and like that. And this one gentleman said that he didn't have a job. He said he didn't work. And there's nothing wrong with him physically. He would tell us stories of all his exploits and his activities and his travels and so on and so forth. There was nothing wrong with him physically, but he didn't have a job. I asked him why. I said, first of all, how long has it been since you had a job? He said, 10 years. I asked him, I said, 10 years? You haven't had a job in 10 years? Why? And he said to the group and to me, he said, Because I have a lawsuit going. He said, I have a case up against these people, and if I have a job, if I go to work, I'm going to lose the lawsuit because they'll see I'm capable of working and all that. Apparently, it's some sort of an injury lawsuit he was trying to make a case for in the courts. Well, I asked him, I said, it's been 10 years since you had a job. He said, yeah. I said, well, how much are you going to get on this lawsuit? And he said, $50,000. I said, $50,000. I said, well, that's a significant amount of money, I guess, but 10 years, you know, you haven't had a job in 10 years because you're waiting for this $50,000. I told him, you could have worked at McDonald's and made a lot more than $50,000 divided by 10 years is $5,000 a year. I said, you could have worked at McDonald's and made more than $5,000 a year. You could have gone on welfare and received more than $5,000 a year. Why are you wasting your life? And here's another thing about that. If they haven't paid you in 10 years, they're not likely to pay you at all. Why are you wasting your life looking back? That is the lesson there. When bad things happen, we should move on. We should be looking for the better thing we can find in the future. We should be looking for something better in the future than what we just had in the past. Don't waste our time on looking back and being angry and trying to get even. Don't think about the resentment you might have, right? Let loose of all of that. If someone harmed you, someone else will take care of it. You don't need to do it. You need to let go of it and move on into the future. Look for the betterment of yourself and your family, right? Don't look back with resentment and anger that's going to keep you down and keep you unemployed for 10 years for $50,000 that you're never going to get anyway. I'll tell you something. By the way, just as a point of interest here, someone once mentioned that tag up there, see it at the top of the screen? That's there to cover up the camera because Big Brother's always watching, right? That's what it's there for. Cover up the camera. Anyway, looking back, Sergeant, also known as Colonel, never regrets the past. He doesn't look back. He's not looking for something that was in the past that he might have enjoyed at a particular time of his life. He is very grateful for his beautiful bride, his loving family, his wonderful property, his excellent photography skills, his extreme storytelling skills, and the wonderful life that he has now. He's not looking back. He's moving forward. There's nothing back there that is better than what he has now. He didn't waste his time. He moved on. It's a good lesson for all of us. Don't waste your time with resentments and anger of the past. Let go of it. Seek something better for yourself and your family. Anyway, that's what I was thinking when I heard that story. I appreciate you all coming by. Please stop up by again in the future, and I will talk with you next time.